If you start to invest more ad dollars in those areas, you will have a much higher ROI by working with an expert. So I would say that's one area that most e-commerce managers should invest in. Most of them have an overall marketing manager, but it can be difficult if that marketing manager has a specialty in ads. I'm Kimberly. I'm originally from the US. I've been living in Europe for the past 5 years. I first moved to Barcelona and then I've been in Milan for the past year and a half. But I travel back and forth quite often to the US as my clients are on both sides of the ocean. So how did I get into digital marketing? I studied at NYU and studied marketing. From there, I always worked in the field. And a year and a half ago, I started my own agency and I wanted to work more with startups. So I pivoted the agency towards working with those startups in the key digital marketing aspects that I saw working in-house at other companies and putting the ones that I thought would work best specifically for startups into most of the marketing plans that I offer clients. So I would say the biggest frustration is that definitely things change quickly. So if you look at Facebook ads, for example, there's like always a change every week. So this is a frustration and also a good thing if you like to learn all of the time. So I personally am the type of person that is energized by learning all of the time, but you do have to definitely be ready for that. And it can be a bit frustrating to know that you always have to learn new things if you want to be successful in digital marketing. So things that are even working now, a year from now, may pivot. So I think that many people that have mid-sized companies don't invest in an agency to specifically do Facebook ads or Twitter ads or LinkedIn ads, whatever it may be. For many e-commerce companies, the best ones will be most successful on B2C sites like Instagram and Facebook. But I see many companies that don't invest in having a specific agency or expert run these ads, so they lose a lot of ad dollars. There are just many things that you learn by optimizing day in and day out that working with an expert can get you a much higher ROI, so the cost there is going to be higher. But if you start to invest more ad dollars in those areas, you will have a much higher ROI by working with an expert. So I would say that's one area that most e-commerce managers should invest in. Most of them have an overall marketing manager, but it can be difficult if that marketing manager has a specialty in ads. So I would say one that's really interesting is that I've been working with a client that has a much older demographic base. So they're getting actually very good cost per click and conversions on Facebook ads, but their target demographic is actually over 60 years old. So this is something that as digital marketers, we think it's a very young and dynamic field. We usually don't think about targeting older demographics, but especially on Facebook, even though there have been many changes, older people definitely are on Facebook more and more. So that's a great area to target and a very good niche market. So I would say first, think about your offer. Definitely your offer is the most important. So whether that be a sale, whether that be an email list that someone can subscribe to for a great offer, your offer is definitely what's going to drive people to either give you their email address or look at your website. So your offer is most important. Second, your content is definitely king. So definitely invest in developing that content. Your visuals should always be super high quality, and when applicable, also imply content marketing when you can. So maybe you have a sunglass brand, and in that area you could do blogs about the best trends for sunglasses or stuff related to the industry. And third, I would say that make sure you optimize along the way. So after you do any type of experiment or ads, make sure that after every 2 weeks you're looking at what is working and optimize. So this is where working with an expert definitely comes in. So definitely everybody wants to retain their customers because this is just the best way to get a higher ROI and also lowers your costs in the future. So now think about influencer marketing and customer retention. They don't seem similar, but people actually really trust more when they get feedback and they get recommendations from a friend. So if you have a happy customer, their feedback that they're going to give to a friend to recommend you is worth much more than many people and many brands value it as. So that's, I think, a key why it's so important. So I've worked with some brands that just through the referral process, they've been able to really, double, triple their email list and their user base because of those recommendations. So think of customer retention as a key to all of those pillars. So I definitely think if you are thinking about hiring an expert or a manager to help you or an agency, definitely ask them what brands they've worked with. So they don't have to work with Coca-Cola, that's not the point. But maybe you want them to have worked with people with similar target markets that you have, so they already have experience there. I would also ask how long they've worked in the industry, so really the more experience the better. I would also ask how large of budgets or how small of budgets they have managed and what results they have gotten from those. So you can ask for things like what was your average public CPC, what was the best ROI on a campaign overall that you got for your clients, and see what they say. I think there's not really a set, I wouldn't say that you need a target CPC or anything like that, but you want to make sure that they have worked with credible clients, those clients were happy with their results, and also that they can apply that information to help you. So AI is an interesting topic. I think it's a bit scary sometimes how much information people have on us. So that's one take. However, along with AI, there are things like AR, VR, which are really interesting. That's going to really change how data is used and how we have different types of ads and any type of advertisement in general in the future. So I think it's interesting on that. So I would say we should be careful what information is going to be shared, but I think it will be an interesting time for marketers to use more data overall.